Welcome back to another reaction video. Today we are reacting to some good old Mama Shoe. Good old shoe on head, Mama Shoe, Mama June. Yeah, the downfall of the Democrats, the truth. 2024 election. Let's get into it. Alrighty. Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris. Oh, Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris will struggle to win unless she speaks to the long neglected working class. Yeah, she sure as hell did that.
Election night in America, one of the most consequential elections in recent history.
Donald Trump has won the presidential election in Kentucky, Florida,
Yeah,
Tennessee, and
he got all swing states.
It's clear now that Donald Trump has picked up key support among Hispanic voters, despite all the things that he said.
Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina.
That the state of Georgia will go to former President Donald Trump.
The evening was getting increasingly
I love how it's always, oh my god, what Trump said. No, disregard everything every racist shit Biden has done. Yeah, sure.
So you won't hear from the vice president tonight?
News Decision Desk can now officially project
Still waiting for my fucking Make America Great Again hats.
the 47th President of the United States.
Do you really think that the Democratic Party is fighting for you? The overwhelming answer is
Jesus, Trump is on the track to win
No.
the popular vote. He's been on a track, dog. Oh boy, here comes the monster in a wine glass.
Well. What have we learned? Nothing, apparently. I regret to inform you, everything I predicted about the election in my last video came true, and more. Men did overwhelmingly turn out for Trump, especially young men. But I was wrong about one thing. Young men weren't the only ones who came out in droves for Trump. Nearly everyone did. The madman took everything, every swing state, Pennsylvania, Georgia, my home state, New York, was closer to flipping red than Florida was to flipping blue. Turns out Dick Cheney's brat wasn't the best message to win over voters. Dems did so bad it really had me thinking, damn, did we steal that election? So what happened here? How did it go so wrong? Is it too late for the Democratic Party, or can they turn this around? Will the Democrats
No, they cannot.
Or will they double down and get worse?
So they can't do shit anymore because not only is the President Trump, which is a Republican, we also have control of Senate and we got control of House. So all three are red. So I don't think the Democrats have much to lean on, if I'm being honest.
In this video, I'm going to go through all the excuses and the copes the Democrats and the broader left are coming up with to avoid accountability, read some silly tweets, watch some silly news clips, and even give the Democratic Party some advice on how to win 2028. Don't worry, Republicans watching this. They won't listen. Maybe in 2050, under the barren Trump monarchy, someone might come to their senses, but not anytime soon. If you only watched or read most mainstream liberal news, it really seems like Kamala had this in the bag, which is why you should try to get your news from a variety of different sources.
Ground News sponsor?
That reminds me. Before we dive into this election
Ground News sponsor,
let's give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, a sponsor I've been working with for over 4 years now, Ground News.
Let's go! Ground News. I already have Ground News.
Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown that helps you understand the full story and make sure you're getting both sides.
Yeah.
One of my favorite features of Ground News is the blind spot feature, which shows you what news stories have been covered by one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other. For example, here is a story about how Bernie Sanders is open to working with Trump on capping credit card interests, and there's 23 sources on it, and 89% are right-wing. No left-wing sources.
Wow, I wonder why.
And this story about how 2 women have told the ethics panel that Matt Gaetz paid them for sex. 31 sources, 61% of them left-wing. You can even see who owns these political outlets.
Wait, you can see who owns them? What the fuck? I didn't know that.
Compare headlines to see how ownership or political bias can affect the framing of a story. For example, this story about how a man was arrested after allegedly a stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead and 1 injured. This left-wing outlet says, man arrested after alleged stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead, 1 injured. This right-wing outlet says, 2 dead, 1 critically injured in Manhattan Biden as knife-wielding maniac launches unprovoked spree. I have been using Ground News since 2021, and I am just obsessed with this app. It is a great and easy way to stay informed, plus it really helps me see how both sides frame the same story so differently. Best of all, for Black Friday, I am offering 50% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all their amazing features.
This
is their biggest discount of the year, so go to ground.news/shoe, use the QR code here on the screen, or use the link in the video description down.
Okay, so another thing that I like about Ground News, wish I was fucking sponsored, is that it sends you push notifications about what your interests are and what you might think is interesting, which I like as well. Like all throughout the election, when the election was opening, like fucking at the end of October, I got Ground News, and it was just notification. No, after the election, once Trump won, actually during both, until today, I was getting like notifications about the election and how it was going. And then once Trump won, it was like sending me push notifications about who he was putting in like the seats of office, you know, like the instant he tweeted it, or I guess he truthed it because he's on Truth Social. Ground News like literally within like 5 minutes, Ground News had like a whole bunch of articles, which is pretty cool. What else does Ground News do that I like? Oh, when you make your account, you can actually choose your interests. So it's not all like, it doesn't all have to be politics. You can choose international news as an interest, and you get global news. You can do US only news, and you get news about the US. You can do sports, I think. You can do a whole bunch of shit. You can even do individual people. Like when the election was happening, Trump was literally one of the options, and so was Harris. So that way you could like stay up to date with their news, see what's going on in their little spheres.
Down below, and subscribe today for only $4.16 repeating per month. I personally think what they're doing is very important because it helps approach the news in a more balanced and transparent way, and I feel like we really need that nowadays. So thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? And now,
I added to your ad, Shoe.
Shall we?
I added to it. I didn't skip it.
Because it certainly is not one.
From blaming the American people to blaming Joe Rogan, the Democrats and the media are having a hard time coping with their loss, and I don't blame them. It was a pretty big loss. Embarrassing, quite frankly. Donald Trump overperformed in nearly every state, with basically every demographic, and the entire country is shifting more red. Everyone,
the red wave!
Devious, dastardly Donald would never make his way back into the White House to steal democracy. And he did it.
Oh my god.
With democracy. Anyway, I got a lot of comments on my last video from new fags like, wait, you're left-wing and you hate the Democrats? Yeah, man, that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, that's like Shoe's entire thing.
Maybe that's a sign you need to take a step back and evaluate some of the preconceived stereotypes you have of people. Not all of us are crazy blue-haired socialists, no. Some of us are crazy brown-haired socialists. But for those of you who
the
are
diet red.
Hello, I am Shoe on Head. If you ask the right wing, I am Stalin. If you ask the left wing, I am Hitler. Fiscally far left, culturally centrist, socially retarded. But if you really must put me in a box, it's not that hard to pin me down. I'm a populist. Think Huey Long if he was a 5'3" Italian New Yorker woman who still did her hair and makeup like it was 2008. Put a pin in that Huey Long name, by the way. He's gonna come up later. I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s.
Hey, I like
political awakening was jibjab.com. The first time I
like it's so minimalistic. I like it. Like all she has is this, a little bit here, and a little bit on the eyebrows, and that's it. It's minimalistic. I like minimalistic makeup. I hate when you come out looking like you're about to fucking go on a killing spree and fight Batman with your makeup.
I voted for Obama. Ugh. I was ready for that hope and change. Instead, we got the crushing of Occupy Wall Street and more drone strikes. And from there, it only got worse. I voted for Bernie in the primaries in 2016, and I watched as the Democratic Party did everything in their power to destroy this man twice. So it is safe to say I am a little biased when it comes to the Democratic Party, but I don't think I've hated them more than I do right now. The truth is, my last video was way meaner and way harsher than the final product turned out to be. When I showed the video to my assistant, he basically had an intervention with me and he was like, Listen, you need to soften this up a bit. It's a few days before the election. You went too hard.
No, we don't soften shit
the
up.
election is over. And I'm sorry,
oh boy.
going hard.
Ayo, we like it hard up in
You
here.
idiots. You morons. You
Off to a great start.
imbeciles. Kamala Harris? Really? That's who you threw up there? The one who dropped out before Iowa? The one who got blown the f out by Tulsi Gabbard? Why didn't you hold a primary? Aren't you the f***ing saviors of democracy? Where the f was the democracy? Oh, big congratulations to Tim Walz on being the first white male DEI hire. It didn't f***ing work. The DNC completely neutered that f***ing guy, reduced him
was
to
hilarious.
this weird token white man. Hello, fellow men, I too play football. But hey, men weren't the only demographic he dropped the ball with. Trump made incredible gains with women, too. Oh, and all those never Trumpers you tried to court, the people who like the old respectable GOP. You know, the old respectable GOP that led us into a pointless
Bush
war
GOP?
that cost trillions of dollars and millions of lives. But we're at least nice on
the
Twitter.
Bush GOP.
That GOP. Yeah, they didn't come out and vote for your ass either. So you got Liz Cheney to tag along for what? For f***ing what? You raised $1 billion and ended up $20 million in debt?
Yeah, that's
Where did all that
wild.
money go? Maybe
People are still trying to justify that. That's fucking insane, dude. They're like, oh, she has to do this, and that, and I'm like, bro, do you not understand that the fact that she had $1 billion to campaign with and somehow still ended in debt is not an issue? What the fuck is wrong with you?
you should have blown it
Do you
all
not
on celebrity
oh,
appearances
God.
that did nothing. Or maybe it was spending 6 figures on a single-use set for the Call Her Daddy podcast that didn't even hit 1 million views. I want to see a full
only Joe
audit of
Rogan.
this campaign, because I wouldn't be surprised if this was all like a big money laundering scheme, because honestly, that makes more sense than this being a legitimate presidential campaign. Then, they had
Oh my God.
audacity to beg their supporters for money after she lost. How about you? How about every DNC consultant should have this
Oh my
map
God,
so
it still irks me that there are people that genuinely are like, we actually have to help her. Like, what? Why? She had $1 billion for fucking campaigning. She sent fucking one of these states in the middle, one of these Midwest states, she literally only sent them $750. And that was only if they qualified. Not to mention, they told them to skip any house with a Trump sign on it. When the hurricane hit, a bunch of fucking scumbags. Then they have the audacity to ask for money. And people are still like, Kamala should have won. She should have won. Trump's gonna take away our rights. I'm like, what fucking rights are you gonna lose? What rights are you gonna lose now that you didn't lose in 2024 or not 2024 in fucking 28 when he was fucking president? In 2016 when he became president, what rights did you lose then? None. What makes you think you're all of a sudden gonna lose fucking rights now? It's fucking wild. As a matter of fact, he's giving women rights.
Sewn onto the inside of their eyelids. May they never have a peaceful wink of sleep for the rest of their miserable lives. So that is how I feel about the whole situation. But what do Democrats and the media think? What do they think?
You know what they
Why
think.
Why do they think Kamala lost?
I think Harris ran a really good campaign. If there's one person
It's because
I do not
men.
think this loss, it is Vice President Harris.
This is gonna be a long fucking video.
Oh, it
Morning
is.
saying Dems need to have a reckoning. No, we don't. We can't be blamed because we expected Americans to be who they always claim they are. Democrats don't have a messaging problem. America has a racism problem. Kamala ran a flawless campaign in 100 days, and
I guess America, the most diverse nation in the world, has a way with minorities voting for Trump. I guess that's racist as shit, huh? Even though Hillary won the popular vote back in 2016. But yeah, I guess this is a racist country considering we have an open border. We're allowing anyone in. We don't discriminate. We don't have racial segregation. We have free speech and equal rights for everyone, but I guess we're all just racist.
I refuse to let y'all gaslight me into believing anything other than that. She lost because she's a woman, and a black one at that.
I mean, this really was an historic.
God, it's always about race and gender.
Listen,
No,
I'm no political analyst, but Losing seems like a pretty big flaw. Truly, don't overthink it. It's because she's a woman, she's a black woman. Don't overthink it. In fact, don't think about it at all.
And Kamala Harris lived up to our dreams. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She ran a remarkable 107-day emergency campaign full of joy.
By that standard, she's the best goddamn vice president we've had since Washington.
Joy, empathy, and unity. Joy and empathy and unity doesn't motivate people to go to the polls. No.
Joy, empathy, and unity. Meanwhile, there's a dude that said Christ is a God, and she was like, "You're at the wrong rally. You should be at the smaller one," with her condescending tone.
Wonder Republicans had incredible turnout and so many Democrats stayed home. This isn't Steven's universe. You just can't like joy and empathy and unity your way out of not
Steven
being able
universe
to afford
references
food for your family. CNN has a story titled "Where the Harris Campaign Went Wrong." Nope, I won't read it. Harris ran a great campaign. The story should be titled "Where the American People Went Wrong."
America decides who they want for president via democracy. Also, the left, the insane left, Americans are racist. It's clearly that it wasn't a democracy. Really? You know what isn't democratic? The nominee being current President Biden and them having an actual insurrection and an actual coup, removing him from the ballot and inserting Kamala Harris. Yeah, that seems pretty authoritarian to me, if you ask me.
La la la, I can't hear you. La 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 la.
Yeah, that's essentially what they did.
It's you. La 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 la. The cope is unreal here. They don't even want to listen to criticism. They really think they did absolutely nothing wrong. They only see this as a Trump win and not a Democrat failure. Kamala Harris was not a flawed candidate. America is a flawed country. This incredible tweet here is from Shannon Watts, who is on the board of Emerge America, which is an organization that, quote, shows Democratic women how to run for office. Yeah, we're never getting a female president.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States. Whoa. He would absolve her.
Wow. What the f*** is this Make-A-Wish president shit? Like she's a little kid who wants to play pretend. Oh, just let her for a few days. What? Please tell me. We're not gonna get the first female president
with you?
Out of pity. Well done, America. You failed them both. The people cannot
No,
let
they failed America. There's
down.
a difference.
That's not how this works. As a politician, you are not owed anyone's vote. You have to earn it, and evidently she didn't earn it. We already went through this in 2016. Donald Trump beat both female candidates. Donald iron sealing Trump. It's not our fault. The candidates you're putting up are dog shit. Give us some good female candidates and maybe people will vote for them. At this rate, the first female president is going to be a Republican. Mark my words, it's bound to happen. And if it doesn't happen, this was a joke. One of the groups that showed up overwhelmingly for Trump was Latinos. One of the major stories of the results is the significant surge in support for Trump among Latino voters. Trump nearly erased the Democratic advantage in this group, narrowing the gap from 33 points to just 8. Democrats going to build the wall 50 times higher after that one. We have to have a very, very uncomfortable conversation about Latino voters in this country. Me watching him deport the Latinos and the Arab Americans after they voted for him.
You can't just deport a U.S. citizen. Even if you're president, you have to go through the proper channels.
And Cinco de Mayo.
To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family. Whether you were here legally or not, you gotta go.
I know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members. So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report said family members.
Donald Trump's strong
bunch of racists.
Spiteful liberals.
A district that's 97% Latino went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some less.
That's what that was.
Another demographic for people
Wow,
that
look at that echo chamber. Literally pointing out everything, and the other ones are like, no, you're wrong, your opinion's wrong, you're fake news.
to vote against Kamala were Muslims. In a Michigan-specific poll of 502 registered Muslim voters, Stein got 59% support, followed by Trump at 22%, and Harris with a tiny 14% of the vote. The results show significant backlash to the Biden administration's handling of Israel's brutal war in Gaza, which has killed at least 43,508 Palestinians, including more than 16,765 children, as well as how the Harris campaign chose to tackle the issue. So how
they chose fucking poorly how to tackle it.
Why, sending that old pervert freak Bill Clinton up to Michigan to talk down to Muslims about Palestine.
I understand why young...
Is he hitting that Joe Biden age, too?
Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died.
What is this sudden skin tone shift, dog? What is this? Like, look at it. Like, look, literally from like the jawline down, he's pale as shit. What, bro? They needed to do a better job with his makeup.
I get that, but
Muslims really said, we hate you more than the guy that talked about a Muslim ban. Just a side note, look at this fucking guy. It's like he hasn't had his daily dose of adrenochrome in a week. Someone get this man a fresh child stat. Muslims, Latinos, who else are we gonna blame?
Get him a fresh little sniffler.
Women. Yes, Trump improved with young men, but he drew in young women too.
Wow, look at that. 52% of all women who look like me are stupid.
Despite making abortion the
I guess you fall under that 52%, huh?
Despite Brat Summer,
dumb
despite
blonde
the
bimbos.
for Harris
The dumb blonde bimbos.
and most of all, despite the Taylor
she's not a
Swift
bimbo, she's
endorsement,
just a fat
Harris
round
only
whale.
managed to get +8 with women. Despite it all, many women came out to support Trump, especially Gen Z women. In 2020, 30% of young women voted for Trump. In 2024, 40% of young women voted for Trump. In fact, so many women voted for him that women on TikTok started wearing blue bracelets.
Oh yeah, that's so stupid. Yeah, we did
They
that.
were one of the good ones who didn't vote for Trump.
Swifties, I'm buying as many blue beads and blue hearts as I can, and I'm gonna make
look
bracelets,
unhinged.
so we know who we can trust.
Yeah. Anyway, some young women in response to Trump's victory.
Bro, fuck the bracelet. Just get a nice little red sash on your shoulder. Who cares if it has a little weird symbol on it? Just get a red sash. That's how people will know you're truly an ally to the Democrats. Get a little red sash with a little nice little weird symbol pattern there, used by a certain Austrian painter back in the day. It's essentially what they're doing, if we're being honest.
Victory are
yes, I am comparing these fucking crazy bitches to Nazis. Because what did the Nazis do? They marked themselves with a swastika and that red fucking lanyard around their arm to signify they were Nazis and that they were part of the Nazi party. That's what they did. And if you didn't have one, oh damn, that sucks. Guess you're disappearing now. Like that's exactly what this is.
A movement started in South Korea. Basically MGTOW for women. Women giving up on dating men, having sex with men, having babies, marriage, whatever.
What the fuck is going on with your hair? Never mind.
We are taking coochie off the table indefinitely.
Cancel all future plans with men. 4B is where it's at. Use their own stupid
2X chromosomes. What the fuck?
Say that you don't want sex before marriage. Say that you are waiting for the right man. They will be seething because they are sexually dependent on women who they call sluts. See, this is the best angle. No sex before marriage. Give them what they voted for. So conservatives won the election and women are threatening to not sleep around. It kind of seems like the conservatives want a little more than just the election. I might do a whole video on the 4B movement. Tell me if you're interested.
Another shoe video?
I don't know. Anyway,
I'll
young men
react
did
to
come
that
out
one
and
too.
support
Shit.
Trump, and apparently for the reasons I and many others predicted. We asked young
Is she
men
gonna
why
talk
they
about
voted
the
for Donald
Amish?
Trump. Here's what they said. Nick Sumners, a 21-year-old cosmetic car repairman from Virginia, says he is pro-choice, but when he voted in the 2024 presidential election, he did so for Donald Trump. Despite his personal beliefs, he says that Trump talks about the American people in a way that resonates with him, without, in his opinion, faulting him for his gender and sexual orientation. I'm a straight white man, and I feel like we take the blame for a lot of things. Of course there are
Not
bad
a
guys,
lot,
he adds,
everything.
insisting that he's not one of them just because he voted for Trump. But what appealed to him about Donald Trump was that his campaign was not coming after us. He was highlighting the American people, which we are. It doesn't matter what color you are, what you may identify as. Since I wasn't excluded, I resonated with it. When you tell a young white guy, hey, you're an oppressor, and because you're white, you have privileges that your black and Hispanic peers didn't have, and you're inherently at
Blacks and Hispanics have way more privileges nowadays than white folk. Sorry to say it, but they do. They have, what's that one that everyone always brings up? That shit for college. Affirmative action, yeah. Affirmative action literally discriminates against white people in favor of blacks, Hispanics, and other minorities. So yeah. But please go on about how they have more privilege.
At fault, or you're guilty for that, which is what a lot of the left wings or Democrats are saying. We're not racist, we're not misogynistic, we're just normal people, and we are friends with everyone. We're tired of hearing a lot of this BS from a lot on the far left. I feel like there's this cultural frustration that young men have that they're not allowed to be young men. I hope the male loneliness epidemic eats you MAGA scum alive. I hope you feel a hole in your soul and feel unloved until you're dying
Cartoon
dead.
PFP, by the way.
Your deathbed, wondering why women looked at you like you had rabies your whole life as your eyes closed for the last time. Unfortunately, the all men suck branding just isn't good for getting men to ally with you. It can't be! Is that the consequences of my own actions? Yes, the reasonable and rational men know you aren't talking about them, but maybe it's time to realize that most men aren't reasonable and rational. How do you speak to young men when they're literally Nazis? Why are Gen Z
not like
males
that.
the Hitler youth? How do we get young men to get on board with the young men eat shit and die movement? Hear me out.
Yeah.
Maybe not calling them Hitler youth. After the election, a YouTuber I am subscribed to uploaded a video called
Say hi.
and I was excited to see his take. But then it comes time to talk about men's issues, and this is how he did it.
But this is the part where I want to enter the male loneliness epidemic. I know. We're all tired of hearing.
The entire idea of the male loneliness epidemic is it's this idea that really centers men and men's feelings. The premise is of quite a flawed premise to begin with.
I agree. I also, I have such mixed feelings about this. I do. Unpopular though it is on the left to like give grace to the male loneliness epidemic. I have mixed feelings about it. I'm picking my words carefully so the leftists don't murder me. Like, don't rake me over the coals.
You're a fucking
for
guy, dude. Speak your mind.
As much as I can understand a heterosexual man.
Yeah, I think we found the answer.
You're gay. You already have way more leeway than straight men. Straight white men.
Answer to the video title. I have to pick my words carefully so my own movement doesn't attack me for caring about men's issues.
As a man.
See the issue? If you can't talk about this without having to walk on eggshells in fear of your own allies ripping your head off, maybe that is part of the reason men are moving right. Also, I feel like this is really important to say. I don't think all these men are moving right. I think just a lot of them hate the Democratic Party and feel alienated from the left. So what was the overwhelming takeaway from the Democrats and the left? To actually start listening to men? No, of course not. Instead, their solution once again seems to be
chastise men.
We need a liberal Joe Rogan. We need a liberal Joe Rogan.
Liberal Andrew Tate.
We need a left-wing Rogan. Democrats are going to keep losing until they have their own.
Yo, you dumb fucks. Joe Rogan started off left-wing and Democratic. He switched over after seeing all the bullshit the Democrats were doing. Same with Elon Musk.
Joe Rogan.
Their own alternative to Fox News. Are you like? Do you mean like a Democratic Fox News? That's called MSNBC, dog.
Own Elon Musk until they create their own alternative to Fox News. People saying Harris should have done Joe Rogan are missing the point. That wouldn't have helped her. Liberals need to build their own Joe Rogan. Oh my God, we need a liberal Joe Rogan. You had a liberal Joe Rogan. His name was Joe Rogan, but he was too edgy, too problematic, said too many no-no words, talked to too many no-no people about no-no topics, and in 2020, when Bernie Sanders went on his podcast and Joe endorsed him, the Democrat journalist class freaked the out and smeared him for weeks. The left can't have a Joe Rogan because everything that makes Joe Rogan is not allowed on the left. Kamala Harris ditched Joe Rogan podcast interview over progressive backlash fears. So Joe Rogan was too problematic, but Liz Cheney was fine? Listen, you don't need a leftist Joe Rogan or liberal Joe Rogan. You just need leftists and liberals to go
Why talk about people's issues and what's going wrong with the country when you can just haha funny start new war button?
Oh, on Joe Rogan. And that means not giving a shit about being canceled by your own movement.
Look, you can have an argument with Rogan, agree with him, disagree with him, but what's the problem going on those shows? I got vilified by some of the Democratic establishment because I went on Rogan's show. Now
This
a
is
lot
on
of other
CNN
people are
too,
doing just
goddamn.
that.
Anyways, liberals should start doing podcasts and TikToks and whatever aimed at setting the youth straight. Ah yes, there's nothing the youth enjoy more than being set straight.
We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and
Right.
Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way, we should educate men that it's actually really great to live with a
Fuck
strong woman
feminism.
who makes money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
We're gonna be under Republican rule for the next 100 years, aren't we? Trump's
Hell yeah.
Democrats asking, where are our bro whisperers? We have to make entertaining, engaging content that men want to watch and care about. Then, over time, you pepper in more progressive views. So you want to start a normal podcast and then start sprinkling in propaganda? Should you even be saying this out loud? Dems need to seriously put all their money into creating propaganda network to compete with the right's massive amount of propaganda. Democrats need their own propaganda machine, and I'm not even joking a little bit. First of all, again, I don't think we need better propaganda is something you should be saying out loud. Second of all, Democrats already have that, and have had it for decades. It's called Hollywood. It's called every celebrity, every institution, every piece of media, from movies to video games. Every celebrity from Beyonce to Taylor Swift endorsed her.
The
She had
fucking
Cardi
Eminem.
B at all her rallies. She had
Eminem.
the Avengers together.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers.
Oh, that's so fucking
By the way, with all
gay.
these like journalists and people talking about how we need
Holy
a liberal,
shit.
educated, liberal Joe Rogan. Yeah, be prepared to see some of the most forced, overproduced, astroturfed streamers and YouTubers to pop up overnight and subtly or not so subtly start shilling for the Democratic Party. You're gonna start seeing funded DNC plants all over YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, because they really do think the answer to all of this is more podcasts. All the funding in the world won't buy you an audience. You could have $1 million set and the best sound and video equipment ever, but
Shoo. She had not 1 million. She had $1 billion and still didn't do it.
it will not buy you a large and dedicated audience. I've been using a Mac laptop webcam and a shitty snowball mic for over 10 years, and you idiots keep coming back for some reason. And listen, it's
Yay.
2024. Y'all have
I
a
am an
camera and a
idiot.
microphone. Be the liberal Joe Rogan you want to see in the world. But the thing is, if people can hear your
can't.
opinions when they turn on the TV, they're not gonna watch your shit. People tune into alt media to hear alt opinions. Even the most popular leftist streamers, like Hassan, for example, spend a lot of time criticizing the Democratic Party. So it's gonna be hard to build some kind of like
Not fake
Democrat
socialist
chill
Hassan.
Joe Rogan. But I can't wait to see you try. After the election, one of the only politicians I've seen who is actively trying to understand why people voted the way that they did is AOC. When I met her, I whispered into her ear,
my God.
"Take the pronouns out of your bio." And she did. My influence. Anyway, after the
My
election,
influence?
AOC found out that a ton of people voted for her down ballot, but also voted for Trump for president on the same ticket. Curious, she took to her Instagram to ask people why they did that. And these were some of their answers. I feel like Trump and you are both real. It's real simple. Trump and you care for the working class.
No, she
but also you
doesn't.
signified change. Trump signified
No,
change.
she
And
doesn't.
secondly, Trump sounds more like you. Loved ones say you're both straightforward and challenging corruption and broken government. Because it's different than what has been the last 4 years. Something had to go. I feel that you both are outsiders compared to the rest of DC and less
You're right. Trump's a businessman and she's someone who worked at a bar.
establishment. Voted Trump, but I like you and Bernie. I don't trust either party establishment politicians. The replies, of course, were full of people like, these idiots, these morons, these fools. Most depressing shit I've ever seen. These people sound dumb as hell. Such staggering ignorance and stupidity. The median voter.
Oh,
I
what
hate
the?
the median voter. I want to destroy the median voter. Why is the median voter this stupid? I hate the median voter. How could this be real? Americans really are the dumbest gentlemen on earth. This is giving me a headache. I don't understand the median voter. Listen, it's really not that hard to understand. It's populism, honey. It's why when I went to January 6th and told a bunch of boomers I was a Bernie supporter, a ton of them reacted like this.
I think he's one of the few honest people yeah, I think he's honest. He beat Hillary Clinton, and he would have beat Joe Biden, too.
People hate empty suits that sound like they're constantly reading from a script. They want someone
she
who
really is
tells it
short.
like it is. Someone who
Holy
fights
shit.
for the everyman, or at least sounds like they do.
How are you feeling about Trump's upcoming presidency, Trump 2?
I voted for him.
Yeah.
You like AOC?
Yeah.
Did you vote for her?
Yeah. Remember one thing about why people voted for Trump. They want change.
The average American voter
Yeah, but
despises
AOC doesn't really
the
bring good
establishment
change.
and will vote for anyone who promises to destroy it. And the fact that none of you understand this is a big reason why you lost and will continue to lose until you do understand it. Capiche? The beatings will continue until the populism improves. How could people have voted for this felon? How could they vote for
I'm already
Trump,
beating my
especially
future children.
January 6th, when he led a bunch of his supporters to destroy that beautiful shining beacon of hope? Well, first of all, you have to understand that that's not a shining beacon of hope to most people. That is a dirty, disgusting brothel that sold out the future of their children and will probably send them into the next world war. After all the indictments, the mugshots, the committees, the documentaries, people clearly don't care about January 6th. And that might scare some people, but the truth is a politician that promises
'Cause the truth
safety
came out.
and affordable food can do 100 January 6s. It's kind of like FDR said. Democracy has disappeared in several other great nations, not because the people of those nations dislike democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and government weakness through lack of leadership. Finally, in desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in hope of getting something to eat. Speaking of FDR, let's talk a little bit about the guy that FDR stole a bunch of his ideas from, shall we? Someone who the modern
Bernie?
Democratic Party should probably try and learn from. That's right, I finally found an
Sanders.
excuse to talk about my favorite politician. The man, the myth,
Sanders.
the legend, the kingfish himself, Huey Long.
Oh, never
Huey
mind.
Long was the 40th governor of Louisiana from 1928 to 1932. He was a populist member of the Democratic Party and rose to national prominence during the Great Depression. He took on big oil and Wall Street and drastically helped lift Louisiana out of poverty. Long had many supporters.
Oh my god, shoot,
and
what
to
the
this day
fuck?
Celebrated as a populist champion of the people, and at the same time, denounced as a fascist demagogue. To give you a better idea of who Huey was, here
I personally don't like them all.
are some quotes from the man himself. Corrupted by wealth and power, your government is like a restaurant with only one dish. They've got a set of Republican waiters on one side and a set of Democratic waiters on the other. But no matter which set of waiters brings you the dish, the legislative grub is all prepared in the same Wall Street kitchen. The only difference I ever found between the Democratic leadership and the Republican leadership is that one of them is skinning you from the ankle up and the other from the ear down. But Huey Long wasn't some enlightened centrist, no. The man firmly had a side, and that side was the people. I'm for the poor man. All poor men. Black and white. They all gotta have a chance. They gotta have a home, a job, a decent education for their children. Every man a king. That's my slogan. When asked if he cared about the bad press he got, Huey replied, "All I care about is what the boys at the forks of the creek think of me." And when Big Oil threatened to leave Louisiana, he said, "If they gotta leave, they can go to hell and stay there." They don't make politicians like this anymore.
No, they don't,
Politicians used
sadly.
to be like mob bosses. Now they go on Call Her Daddy podcasts. Sad.
Because they probably
Huey had
fucking
many
were mob bosses.
and because of this, he was assassinated in 1935. His last words were allegedly, "God, don't let me die. I have so much to do." There's a lot of talk online right now about how we need a Joe Rogan for the left, and Andrew Tate for the left. But
Oh, there's
also
the Andrew
talk about
Tate.
how we need a Donald Trump for the left. And, well, Huey Long was exactly that. And to be completely honest, I don't think you people could handle a Donald Trump for the left. You couldn't even handle Bernie Sanders. You called him a sexist and a racist and did everything in your power to crush him and keep him down. But unlike Bernie, Huey Long wouldn't just lay down and take it. Huey Long would scare the shit out of the modern Democratic Party. But if there's anyone they need to take a lesson from, it's him. Alright, time to get out of this costume. I feel like an old hooer. It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party Party, which has abandoned working class people, would find that the working class had abandoned them, Bernie Sanders said in a statement about the results of Tuesday's election. While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. Will the big money interest and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign?
No, they won't.
Will they understand the pain and political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has so much economic power? Probably not. All the groups that Sanders originally courted, young people, Latinos, the working class, are gone. And I don't know if they're coming back. Maybe this is a one-time thing, maybe it's just because of Trump or inflation, or maybe the meme is coming true. Maybe Republicans are the new party of the working class. Democrats' working class exodus sets off reckoning within party. Democrats, who have long prided themselves as the party for the little guy, instead strengthened their emerging base of financially secure college graduates this election, while a growing number of blue-collar voters embraced Trump and Republicans. Especially alarming for Democrats this election, the exodus of working-class voters from the Democratic Party included not just white voters, but helped Trump make gains with Latino and black men. This realignment crystallized a political reality that is tough for Democrats to swallow. With blue-collar voters flocking away from their party over multiple election cycles, Democrats' refashioned base is becoming more upper-class, urban, suburban, and coastal. It's a narrowed coalition that does not bode well for future elections. To put things into perspective, the Trump coalition is closer to the Obama coalition than the Harris one is. That is crazy. That
hilarious.
Is wild. That is what we call a potential party switch. And I don't really care about how many leftists or Democrats cope about this. We have better union policies. We have better wages policy. Yeah, that might be true, and I agree, but we don't get to decide who the party of the working class is. The working class does. And if exit polls are anything to go by, basic left-wing economic policy is still incredibly popular. People just hate the Democratic Party. White men without college degrees are going to ruin this country. First of all, white men without college degrees built this country.
Yeah.
Second of all, this is apparently a real Democratic Party strategist saying this. You want to know how to win 2028? Step 1. Stop listening to freaks like this. The election, if having a degree was a requirement to vote. And this is what the election would look like if everyone was allowed to vote.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's this election. I hate democracy.
And I think Bernie Sanders is wrong. I think the more relevant question actually is what is wrong with America?
Democrats have a smug problem. The day after the election,
in Victoria 3 terms, they want to switch from presidential republic to a parliamentary republic. But in order to do that, we would have to switch from president to a chancellor. But that would also give more people the power to vote.
An NBC News chart circulated on Instagram that highlighting exit poll data showing that the more education you had, the more likely you would vote for Vice President Kamala Harris over President-elect Donald Trump. Some liberals use the occasion to look down upon the icky dummies who were too stupid to know they shouldn't vote for Trump. Yet
the issue is all fucking universities nowadays are just a fucking echo chamber of liberal extremist ideologies. And if you don't agree with those ideologies, then they fucking essentially just kick you out of the school. I mean, I saw a video the other day of a fucking middle school teacher losing his shit and calling security just because one of his students wore a MAGA hat. Which is illegal, by the way, because that violates the kid's constitutional right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and the parents could sue. But yeah, I guess, yeah, that just goes to show that having a college degree doesn't always make you a smarter person.
Yet Trump's victory was both definitive and diverse. He won broad swaths of the electorate, making significant gains in New York and California, and winning over larger percentages of Latino voters and young voters than in 2020. He also won a majority.
You might have seen a red California if it
large
wasn't
factions
fucking
of the
Reagan.
left condescendingly believe that dumb people are the reason Trump won in 2016 and won again in 2024. And that patronizing, visceral vibe is obvious. It's a massive turnoff to many other voters. It is a mountain smug Democrats have to overcome if they want to reconnect with voters. Once, the coastal liberal establishment had an air of open-mindedness. But now, these elites have evolved into the provincial, narrow-minded scolds they once critiqued. All their education has narrowed their worldview. Their credentialism has built themselves a bubble in which to hide from reality. The contempt many liberals and some leftists have for the working class has never been more on display than it is right now. Even coming from some leftist YouTubers I watch that I know better and spend a lot of their time trying to bring people to the left. Your college degree does not make you any smarter than a working class person without a college degree. And more importantly, don't talk down to a vast
You want a great example of this? The Big Bang Theory. Penny has 0 college degree, but she works in pharmaceutical sales. Leonard has a college degree and a shit ton of student debt. Penny makes more than Leonard without that college degree. So yeah.
Majority of the population, because despite how badly you want to believe it, they are not stupid. They are the people who grow your food, build your houses, pave your roads, fix the plumbing in your luxury apartments. And guess what? There are more of them than they are of you. So maybe you people should start listening to them instead of wagging your finger in their faces as if disagreeing with you is some moral failing, because it's not. These people aren't all racists and Nazis or whatever. They are normal people. They are the proletariat. They're who you should be fighting for. And they don't believe you are fighting for them. More importantly, there is a difference between being educated and being smart. IQ isn't just about how many books you read or how many words you know. A lot of it is about pattern recognition, and boy did I recognize some patterns here. Maybe you guys should have listened to the bimbo with populist brain rot, because she seemed to be right about a lot of this. If the Democratic Party wants to win another election, they need to start understanding the importance
She's a
of
mama.
populism. Drop the divisive identity politics and focus on the bread and butter issues, or you are doomed. Become the party of Huey Long again, or you are doomed. But you know what? Maybe you're not doomed. Because if Trump fails to deliver on his promises, or we get like George Bush 3, it's totally possible that the populism vacuum will be open again. Will the Democrats take advantage of this and actually put up a good candidate? No. They're gonna put up like Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom, and the populism vacuum will be filled by people like my Twitter mutual and soon to be Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. That is still so weird. What do I do with this power? Hey, JD, best buddy.
God.
I have an idea. It's called Patriot Care, and it's healthcare, but our tax dollars go to it instead of bombs. Doesn't that sound cool? If you can't beat them, join them. The fact is, this election was a complete rejection of the liberal ideology. Or it was just because of inflation and people want to afford eggs
It's so
again.
funny if she got a reply.
Yeah, it was probably that. It just kind of sucks to see the party you voted for your whole life, the party you grew up with, just get worse and worse over time. After this, the Democrats are gonna move right in the dumbest ways. They're gonna become like the new neocons, but gay. And I have no idea how a second Trump term is gonna go. I hope it goes well. I don't know. Congrats to RFK, I guess. I'll see you guys in the Adderall labor camps. Otherwise known as the concentration camps. Get it? Okay. Anyway, so that is enough of my yapping. Now I want to hear you yap. Why do you think Trump won? And what could the Democrats do to win 2028? Anyway, if you liked this video, please consider subscribing. Also, if you can, donate to me on Patreon, or you could do a little tip with the little tip jar down below somewhere. It helps the channel a lot, and I appreciate it so much. And I will see you very soon with a new video that is very, very different than this one. Some of you might like it. I know a certain community will. But that is it for now.
The VTuber community. There's always some weird shit she says, but yeah. It's just funny and sad at the same time. You reap what you sow, you made your bed, now you have to lay in it. There's always something funny at the end. In Russia. Kamala. Oh my god, that's such a great meme. Oh yeah, and one more thing, Kamala, make America great again. Yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. This was fucking hilarious, dude. Good old Shoe, Mama Shoe. Yeah, we'll catch y'all in the next one.